ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Monday, May 12th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you took care of your mom on Mother's Day. Please tell me you took care of your mom. If you didn't, shame on you. It's Mother's Day. You got to take care of your mom. So I got a chance to see a lot of people out doing nice things with their mothers on Mother's Day. That was nice to see. So hopefully you took care of your mom as well. So we'll get started. Let's get the text line going early. It's going to be open all show. I don't have any guests today, so that's more time for me to talk to you, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, we've got some good news. Baseball's looking like it's going to clinch itself a spot in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. 6th right now, if I did my math right, 6th place. Now, Marshall's got 3 games to go in conference. Before anything, though, the Herd's going to wrap up non-conference play tomorrow against Virginia Tech, but the Herd got a sweep of Georgia State. I thought Marshall could sweep Georgia State, and Marshall did. Won the game on Sunday 11-10 in 10 innings. So the Herd's now 28-24 overall, 13-14 in Sun Belt play. That's good. I'll take that. Marshall could finish the regular season with a winning record. Just need to win 2 out of the next 3, and you're going to be fine. I think so. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me do my math right here. If Marshall can win and sweep, Marshall will be then in winning territory here, because it will be 16-14 instead of 15-15. Got a little ahead of myself here. I'm hoping for the sweep anyway. That would be great. Marshall looked good on Sunday. Micah New had a double, a homer, and 3 RBI, his 18th multi-hit game of the season. Nolan Wilson added 7 RBI over the weekend with 3 in the final. Eli Vogelsong hit his 8th home run, drove in 3. Tyler Kamer also homered, had 3 hits. Herd looked good. Now, Marshall made it interesting. Marshall led 4-1 before Georgia State surged ahead 9-4. A little worried about that. The Herd tied it with Kamer's solo homer and Vogelsong's 3-run blast, and then Kamer drove in the go-ahead run in the 9th, and after a Georgia State equalizer, Wilson sacrificed bunt in the 10th, scored the game winner. So now the Herd has to turn its attention quickly to Virginia Tech and then back home, able to clinch a playoff spot. If I did my math right, Marshall needs to win the series, and that's lock right there. That's a lock. I think if Marshall wins 1, it could be okay. But I think if I was doing the math quickly in my head, I think Marshall's got to win the series, and that's going to be a lock. Because right now the Herd's in sort of this pile up. Everybody's got records so close to one another. We'll look at the standings together a little bit later on. But this is good. This is starting to show some progress here. This is tangible. This is good stuff here. Marshall getting into the tournament, okay, we want to see that. And then what can happen when you get in the tournament is anybody's guess. And I'm not saying just inch into the tournament. I mean, right now, Marshall is 6th. Marshall wouldn't play that first day. You don't want to be, if you have to be, you're fine. But if you want to try to advance in this thing, you want to be out of day 1. You want to start day 2 of the tournament. So give Coach Beal some credit here. He's really got this program starting to look like there's a lot of progress. And I think there's a lot of things you can talk about that you might not see necessarily on the score sheet or the record book. And there's a lot of progress here. I knew this would be a work in progress. Absolutely felt that this is going to be a work in progress. And you can yell transfer portal all you want. In this day and age, everybody's got great baseball parks. Even Marshall now. That was the big one for the Thundering Herd for my entire life. Marshall did not have proper baseball facilities. Well, that's been taken care of now. So now it's up to coach to go out, attract quality athletes, show them that Marshall's a place you can win. And if Marshall can do some damage in the tournament, I think you're going to look good for the next season. I don't want to just look good for the next season. I mean, let's go ahead and win this thing. Yeah, has Marshall gotten to the point where, okay, maybe it could go win this thing? It at least has shown that there's some progress in the program. I know that I've used that a word, but that's the best way I can describe this right now. I've seen progress in baseball. I'm excited for baseball. You should be excited for baseball. And there's one more home series coming up this weekend, but first it's going to be Marshall and Virginia Tech. And I'm not going to give you any of that. Well, midweek games don't matter. None of that stuff here. Midweek games matter to me. It's against Virginia Tech. It'll be a good win for the Herd. Midweek games matter. Absolutely. So we'll get your text in this hour, and I do want to do that. And let me give that number one more time. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Other than Herd baseball, how was your weekend? Of course, we touched on Mother's Day, and I hope, again, everyone took care of your mom. If you didn't, what was your excuse? What did you have going on that you couldn't have taken care of your mom on Mother's Day? Absolutely. I want to hear those excuses. And I will rip them apart, but I just want to hear them just in case. Now, if it's something legitimate, I get it. Okay, don't give me something really sad here. But if you could have legitimately taken care of your mom, you didn't. Shame on you. Absolutely. Fix her lunch. Fix her dinner. Take her to a movie. Fix her dinner, lunch, and a movie. Who knows? Come clean the house. Do something. Hope everyone had a great weekend. So we'll get into it more with you. And again, that text line is open. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. The Pirates are in action tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that. First pitch set for 7:10. I know they're having a good go of it as of late because the boss is happy. Anytime he comes by the desk and he's happy, he's talking about the Pirates and he's happy, that's right there. Yep, Pirates are doing. The Pirates are winning. I know they're winning. I don't even have to look at the score. I know that they're winning. So we've got that. NFL schedule is going to be starting to come out soon. We know that the Eagles are going to kick off the title defense at home on Thursday, September 4th, against the dreaded Dallas Cowboys in the NFL season opener. That's their first week one matchup in 25 years. And, of course, this is going to be interesting because you've got new Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer. Dak Prescott will be ready to go. The Eagles will be fresh off that Super Bowl victory. And we're going to find out soon where all these games are going. The NFL makes an event out of everything. Hey, here's the schedule. No, we're not just going to give it to you. We're going to make an event out of it. We're going to make this a big deal. We're going to release it in pieces. We'll trickle some of it out to you now, give you a couple of highlights, and then we're going to have an entire unveiling of the schedule. It's the schedule. Do we need to make the schedule a production? I mean, it's interesting to talk about the schedule, but do we need to make it a production as an event? I mean, there are some schools that don't even release the schedule. You have to piecemeal it together. And then, oh, yeah, here's the schedule. There are some places that happens. Here's schedule. Not this production about the schedule. Here's new NFL programming around the schedule release and the unveiling. Just give me the schedule. I want to print it out so I know which games I can go to and which ones I can watch and which ones that are going to excite me. Just give me the schedule. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Let's get into what's happening when we continue across the board. We got a lot to get into today. And, of course, don't forget, you're part of it as well. So 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got a little catch-up to do. We had basketball commit, before we got off the air. I think it happened around right after we got off the air. But the weekend commit, so we've got that. Marshall made it a little bit more official today. Official, as in they retweeted something. And so we've got that to get into. Coach Jackson's doing a pretty good job so far, don't you think? And then there was this article that came out a few days ago, and it's starting to get a little bit more traction from Herd fans, so we'll talk a little bit about it. And not necessarily the article itself, but here we are waiting for any news on the new athletic director for Marshall Athletics. And what we mean by any news, hey, has the search begun? And I'm going to say yes, but what do we know about the search for the new athletic director? What's the goals? Is this job more attractive today than it was 5 years ago? And that's a starter question for you right now. Is this job more attractive today than it was 5 years ago? When you hear the Marshall job is open and you're a prospective candidate, are you excited because, hey, here's a possibility for me to take the Marshall job? Is this job better? Or is this going to be a complete cleanse again? Is this going to be, we got to rebuild this thing again. We got to rebuild this culture. What are we thinking right now? Is this a job where it could be on the verge of teetering the wrong way, or does Christian Spears have a pretty solid foundation here? So the next athletic director that comes in, they can just start knocking it out of the park, right? That's what we're talking about when we continue. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Transform the look of your home with big savings at Menards. Window Images faux wood room darkening blinds at a classic design and privacy. They're available in a variety of stylish colors, white, oak, gray, and mahogany to match any decor. Plus, get them trimmed to width for free. Save big money on window treatments at Menards. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Big flavors, big savings, and top-notch quality only at Food Fair. Food Fair is excited to announce 3 new signature brands. Food Club brings families together with delicious, high-quality meals without the name brand price. Craven Flavors satisfies your cravings with bold, mouth-watering snacks, pizzas, and sweet treats. And Simply Done makes life easier with household essentials that get the job done right. Visit Food Fair today and enjoy the quality and savings in every aisle. Foodfairmarkets.com.
Planning for a funeral is never easy, and selecting the right mortuary can be important. Family owned and operated for over 6 decades, our family has helped other families going through the most difficult time. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory can help you plan arrangements today or offer a pre-need funeral plan in line with your intimate wishes. And now, we provide Huntington's only on-site crematory. Call us for a free consultation. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory, serving the tri-state for over 60 years.
Hey, it's Big John here. You looking for a smile transformation? 36 years of experience. Who has that? Thompson Orthodontics does, and they're going to offer personal orthodontic care, traditional braces. How about a flexible payment arrangement just for you? And they'll bill all insurance and West Virginia Medicaid. Experience the friendly, fun atmosphere and meet the amazing staff. My daughter Ruby had to have braces. That's where we went. She has a perfect smile, and I'm telling you, it's just a phone call away. Visit Thompson Orthodontics online at yoursmilingfaces.com today. Tell them Big John sent you. Hey, Cecilia, the great specials continue this month at Clark's Pump and Shop.
Hey, Big John, they've got assorted Reese's king-size candy bars, buy one, get one for $1, and assorted Airheads peg bags, 2 for $5.
Plus Jack Link's classic meat sticks, 2 for $2.
Yum, these are great snacks. Too bad you're on a diet.
I'm allowed to have these. It's a seafood diet. Seafood, I eat it.
Hey, there's more great specials on the Clark's Pump and Shop app available in your app store.
And you can return, refresh, and refuel where? At Clark's Pump and Shop.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Don't forget, Dave will be back with us tomorrow at 10:06 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're with you now with our text line open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So, there's been an article that's been making the rounds among Herd fans online. It was published a few days ago on Hero Sports. Now, Hero Sports, it was purchased by BetMGM, so it's okay. It's not one of the big major publications, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so it can focus on stories like this. And there was a lot of conjecture about the search for the new athletic director at Marshall University. Now, I'm not going to give you the entire story verbatim, but I do want to talk about this search because right now we haven't heard much. And that could be because there's a lot of time between now and when the new athletic director would need to take over. Marshall has an athletic director right now, still on the job. This wasn't one of those where the athletic director was immediately excused of his duties. It was a mutual understanding that, hey, after this season, after this contract, we're done. We're not going to renew, and we're going to mutually agree to be friends and walk away. And so now you have an athletic director that's going to be there until the transition. So when's the transition begin? Do you want to do this quicker? You want to do this a little slower? Be a little thoughtful about it, because you don't have to replace someone right away. You can take your time, see what's out there, what the overall thought is on the job, and then bring the candidate in that you think is going to do the best thing for the department. But there were a lot of things that were brought up in this story from Hero Sports. And we'll highlight some of them. One of those could be some of the politics that go into the Marshall job. Now, there shouldn't be politics in the athletic director's job, right? Unfortunately, yeah, there's always going to be politics. There will be politics because it's a state institution. And you're going to have great people skills. You're going to have to get political sometimes. And you're going to have to make sure you're doing what you can do to keep the athletic department afloat, make the right people happy while still trying to get your agenda through. But there were some interesting comments from anonymous sources, or here's what others are saying about the Marshall job. Some of the quotes were too much political oversight in Huntington. Someone commented that there's something still weird about how football was handled. There was a comment about debt that the athletic department owes the university. So there are some interesting comments, but too much political oversight in Huntington. And of course, now Marshall does have a board of governors. And to be fair, I felt that at times there was a little political gaming going on in the room. It's a job that is political in nature. It's the board of governors, and you had a governor that was very active, interested in Marshall University, and now Senator Jim Justice. When he was the governor, he had a keen interest in what was happening with the athletic department because of his relationship with Marshall University. And of course, we can go back a few years because there's still conversations to be had about Mike Hamrick not getting his contract renewed, being told, thanks for all the years, but we're going to move in a different direction. And of course, then you had a little upheaval in the president's office, and then you get Brad Smith who comes in, and Brad's been great for Marshall University. I mean, that's one where you lucked out. You brought someone in that has been able to bring a different energy to Marshall University, and also someone who has brought tangible results. I mean, building buildings are nice to have those on your resume. Hey, look, I built this. We got this. We got this business school. Look at this. You know, we've got this innovation district going on. Look at all this property we're going to be developing here, and we're going to be doing more with this innovation district. There's so many tangible things going on. And then you got this athletic department that you're going to take care of, because for a lot of people, Marshall starts with the athletic department. And so now you have to go out and you have to make a home run hire. This is going to be the most important hire, I think, in the next 5 years at least, because with name, image, and likeness, with the transfer portal and everything that goes along with this, any more realignment, legislation, any and every new cause that can happen over the next 5-10 years, you're going to have somebody in place that can guide Marshall University through it. And to be fair, there were some things that were showing progress with Marshall's athletic department. Did it take Christian Spears to get the ballpark finally built, or would that have been an inevitable conclusion to this? Jim Justice, obviously, and using his resources, helped get that across the finish line. Could that have been finished with or without Christian Spears? I give him credit because he's the athletic director. And there were some upgrades, not many, but there were some upgrades at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. You know, you're going to have the new upgrade to the Shuey building, and that's going to help, in theory, name, image, and likeness. And that's going to be revenue that will be generated to that cause. You had a new scoreboard. Everybody loves a new scoreboard. Mike Hammer got you a new scoreboard. Now we got an even bigger scoreboard, different one. And there were some facility changes. You have tarping of some of those end zone seats. And to be fair, those seats are eventually going to go away. So you rip the Band-Aid off now and you eliminate those. There was tarping in the Henderson Center. The Henderson Center is still woefully outdated. So there are things that have been a lot better and improved. I mean, you go through some of the hallways of the Henderson Center, some of the different levels, and they've done a nice job cleaning it up. Still a lot to do, but there are things progressing. So I think you give a thumbs up on facilities. Absolutely. Now, coaching. Now, how can you grade an athletic director? You look at some of the coaching hires, and home run with Kim Caldwell. Home run. Absolutely. Knocked it out of the park there. Jury's still out on women's basketball now with Julie Folks. It's going to be sort of a slow burn. Maybe it's not going to be as flashy as it was under 1 year with Kim Caldwell, but it could be a slow burn. You saw some progress in the tournament. You saw a Marshall team get hot, and so, okay, if this team can sustain that through the regular season, it should be okay. Football, I think you get poor marks. The way it went down, you lost a bowl opportunity. You also lost a football coach, and it's his word versus the athletic department's word. Which one do you take and believe? But then you bring in a Tony Gibson, and jury's still out because he hasn't coached a game yet. He's in the honeymoon phase right now. So there are some things there you can look at, positive in some regard. Maybe you get dinged here for football. And if you're a new athletic director, you come in, how can you make instant change? Because you're locked in with a football coach that has a long-term deal. You have a basketball coach that's going to be around a few years. The good news is Coach Jackson is going to make it very difficult for anyone to replace him, because you look at his success year one, and I'm hoping that he can build on that. Quite candidly, I like Coach Jackson. I hope he has the job for a long time. Now, you get high marks for some of these, but it comes back to, is this a more attractive job today than it was 5 years ago? Is Marshall Athletics better today than it was 5 years ago? The department, everything. Not just wins, losses on football. Not looking at that. But as an athletic department, as a program, is Marshall University more attractive today as a job, as a position, than it was 5 years ago? The budget's improved. Sun Belt now, you're competitive. You're not the top school, but you're competitive. Football, much better. You're paying more now than football than you were with the previous coach. You have success in football. You had an opportunity to go to a bowl. You won the conference championship. We saw how that fell apart. So that's my question to you. Is this a better job today than it was 5 years ago? And what's the biggest priority for the athletic director that will be next? Will it be facilities? Will it be fundraising? Will it be people? I think fundraising probably goes right into that as well. What's the big priority for you? Is it navigating the landscape with an ever-changing focus on name, image, and likeness and a transfer portal? And is that going to be something that's going to be a priority of the new athletic director? From our text line, texter says, Paul, yes, it is a better job. We have more facilities and a better TV deal. Money. And the Sun Belt does bring you a better TV deal now. Does that hold in the future? Does the current landscape hold? Or will there be a new dynamic once all these TV contracts are up? I know there's already a push to make the playoff 16. The bowl games are probably going to go away, or at least diminished in some capacity. The major bowls will probably they'll survive. And the random Tuesday night bowl might go away, because where's the money in those? The playoff is going to be where it's at. So that TV money, that's in flux, I think. From a standpoint, Marshall had to get out of Conference USA. Absolutely. Had to. I would have started my own conference and invited schools just to get Marshall out of Conference USA. I would have done it. I don't know where I would have secured the money, but I would have found a way because Marshall was going to die in Conference USA. Now Marshall's in a much better league. I think I like the Sun Belt. I like the teams Marshall goes up against. I like the vibe. It's absolutely much nicer on this side of the Mississippi. What are your thoughts on this? Better job than it was? And what's going to be the most important thing for the new athletic director? And will Marshall need to go outside the box a little bit more? Can you go outside and get someone that doesn't really have ties to Marshall? Can you bring someone that has a little swagger outside of the greater Huntington metropolitan area? Or do you need someone that has that institutional knowledge? You need someone that knows the lay of the land. You know, what's going to benefit Marshall more? Someone that can come in and have a lot of clout, or someone that can come in and we all like and know because they've been here. And I'm not alluding to a Jeff O'Malley, but he is someone that's on my list that you need to talk to. And so he would be someone that would know the lay of the land, know the job, know the people involved. And is he the right guy for the job? Or would you look elsewhere? Does he even want to look at the job? That's the thing. We don't know what he wants to do. But I think any search needs to include at least a conversation with him. Would you like to be a candidate for this job? And if so, what will it take to get you to come back? That needs to be a conversation. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's baseball season, and baseball fans know the season can be long. You need something to help you through, and that something is Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington. Roosters has over 40 big screen TVs, so your game is always on. And with their great daily specials, like the $3 featured appetizer of the week on Tuesdays, the season will be over before you know it. And if you're like me, fan of a losing team, there's nothing like Roosters wings to soften the blow. Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington, a fun casual joint.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
The soundtrack to your summer is back. Mount West 9th Street Live, downtown Huntington's favorite Friday night tradition, presented by Michelob Ultra and White Claw. Kick off the summer Friday, May 16th. It's K&B Pest Control Night with Brad Goodall on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for next Friday, May 23rd, for the Hooligans Homecoming Pre-Party. June 6th, 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 15th. 9th Street Live is driven by University Ford and built by Cardinal Roofing. Every Friday night through Labor Day, 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Arena, and Kindred Communications. This Friday, it's Brad Goodall at Mount West 9th Street Live. Calling all steak lovers. It's time to fire up the flavor at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Introducing the Grill Master Weekend Special. Choose a juicy New York strip or a tender ribeye, cooked just the way you like it, and served with 2 signature sides, all for just $29.99. Big taste, big value, big flavor. But only on the weekends at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Savor the grill and celebrate the weekend like a true champion with the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue in downtown Huntington.
At General Heating and Air Conditioning, a proud supplier of York heating and cooling products, great customer service is our priority. We receive an average of 20 service calls per day, and over 85% are from repeat customers. Many we have been serving for more than 50 years. Find out why so many of the tri-state choose and stick with the region's leading heating and cooling service provider. The next time you need service, repairs, or maintenance, call General Heating and Air Conditioning, a company you can trust since 1968.
Introducing your newest 5-star Chevy dealer, hailing from exit 34 off I-64. It's the all-new Cardinal Chevrolet, the Tri-State's fastest-growing Chevy dealer, with over 150 vehicles ready to roll. Every purchase comes with their exclusive Cardinal Care program, including a lifetime powertrain warranty on new, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage on used, plus lifetime tire rotations, West Virginia state inspections, and alignment checks. Vehicles for every budget, every credit type. Cardinal Chevrolet is here to get you driving. Visit them at exit 34 off I-64, online at cardinalchevy.com. You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter wrote in just a moment ago and said, Paul, like you, I'm excited for Herd Baseball, but more correctly, I'm excited for Marshall in general. As you said, progress. I initially did not like the Gibson hire, but it does seem that he truly wants to be here, and there's something to be said for that. Coach Jackson is handling basketball well. Soccer is nationally known. Women's teams are a force to be reckoned with. Yes, exciting times. And the AD job is far more attractive than it was 5 years ago. I appreciate the text. So there's some positives to be said. You bring in a coach that wants to be here. You bring in a coach that wants to stay, wants to possibly retire here. You never know. Alabama calls you tomorrow. You got to take that phone call. But with that said, Coach Gibson wants to be here, wants the job, wants to bring that West Virginia flavor back to the team. And I think the previous coach wanted to be here. I think Coach Huff wanted to be here, but he was looking day one. Absolutely looking day one. Remember the Duke story connecting him? Absolutely. I can confirm that myself. He was talking to Duke. Now, are you talking to other teams to kind of strengthen your position where you're at? That's always a tactic, to be fair. If you're looking at other places, is it because you want to force the hand of where you're at? Like, hey, look, they're offering me this. Can you at least get me there, close to that? It's a tactic, absolutely. Speaking of basketball, Coach Jackson, new force to be reckoned with, possibly? 7'4" center Matthew Van Komen going to join the Herd. Native of Lehigh, Utah, has a year of eligibility left and has some experience. Was at Utah and then spent 3 seasons at St. Mary's. Was at Hawaii Pacific with the Sharks. Averaged 7.1 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 47 blocks over 21 games. In 2024, transferred to Elon in North Carolina. We all know Elon. Averaged 6 points, nearly 8 rebounds, racked up 75 blocks. Had a really nice game against Wofford and hit 14 points in a game against Northwestern. But all you have to do, roll back that tape. Elon played host to Marshall, had 6 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks. It was a 73-59 win. Had 14 rebounds in 3 separate games last season. Shot well, 72% from the field. So you got to work on that free throw line, though. 53.5%. So you got to work on that. But boy, he's going to be a force. I like having the big man in the middle. Absolutely. Not talking breaking any records, blocking shots here. You got 1 year to do that. We're not talking Hassan Whiteside by any stretch of the imagination, but you never know. This guy could come in and be a total terror. Force teams to play the perimeter. You're not going inside on him if you get it the way you want it. So that is a big, pun intended, big addition for the Thundering Herd. Coach Jackson's been working the portal. I think we expected that. More so than Danny. And not a knock on Danny. Not a knock on him at all. He had a different way of going about finding players. And it worked for a while. But here we are. The landscape changed. And there are a lot of coaches that grew up in the old system, worked in the old system, mastered the old system, and then you see this new system, these guys can go anytime, get them a year, then they're gone. You got to be crazy nowadays to sit there and go, okay, let me recruit this guy straight out of high school, and I'm going to get 4 years out of him. No. You're lucky if you do. Well, I don't think we're going to see that kind of player anytime soon. Unless something changes in the landscape for college athletics, you're going to basically see every year who's available, who can we put together, and can we get a team? Can we field a team? And programs that master the portal are going to do better. Programs that can build the better chemistry between players that have never played together and you got them for a season, those are going to be the teams that will do much better. And I'm confident in Coach Jackson, what he's been able to do so far, and I'm confident in what he's putting together now. I think I'm excited for basketball more now than I was last year. And again, I am a big fan of Coach Jackson, so I was excited for him when he got the job. I was truly happy. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got time for your text, but we're going to continue on. We got to get one more break in today, so we'll do that, come back. We've got rest of the way for your text when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hit the road with the all-new University Ford. Choose from over 400 vehicles, all tariff-free, because Ford builds more American-made vehicles and employs more American workers than any other auto manufacturer. And now, for a limited time, University Ford is excited to extend their employee discount to you. That's right. Take advantage of employee pricing from University Ford. From America, for America. Don't wait. Get started at universityfordwv.com. We are University Ford. We are driving tradition forward. This spring, unleash the fun at Dave & Buster's Spring of Big, Big Games. Dave & Buster's has added over 100 new games, including never-before-seen hits like Top Gun, Godzilla VR, and UFC Challenge. Whether you're chasing high scores, battling your friends, or discovering your new favorite game, there's excitement around every corner. Plus, games are half off every Wednesday. Level up your fun at Dave & Buster's. Don't miss out on the spring of big, big games. Only at Dave & Buster's, located at the Huntington Mall.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, Adult Family Care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an Adult Family Care Home Finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak tree?
Sup?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Our final segment for today's edition of The Drive. Still plenty of time for you. Our text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Pirates opening up a 3-game series against the Mets. Citi Field. First pitch set for 7:10 p.m. We'll have it for you right here. 6:45 their airtime on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Guardians will play host to the Brewers at Progressive Field. That's coming up tonight, 6:10. The Reds are off tonight. NBA playoffs, we got a lot going on. First of all, Indiana got the better of Cleveland yesterday, 129-109. Oklahoma City got the win over Denver, 92-87. We got the Celtics at Knicks tonight. Go Knicks, 7:30 p.m. Timberwolves at Warriors. That's going to be your late one coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. NHL Stanley Cup. Florida beat Toronto 2-0 series, now tied at 2 games apiece. Toronto won the first 2, then Florida won the next 2. So we'll see what happens, but it's anyone's contest now. Dallas got the win over Winnipeg 5-2. Stars lead that series 2-1. Coming up tonight, 7 o'clock. Game starts at 6:30. Airtime on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. You can stream online at catsports933.com. Capitals taking on the Hurricanes. I don't like either team. I don't know which one I want to lose more. Can both just disqualify from this round? I can't stand either one. 7 o'clock going to be the face-off for this one. Golden Knights taking on the Oilers, 9:30 tonight. I'm rooting for the Oilers in this one. So if you have been following along, you've got some really interesting things happening with the Bengals right now as we're getting closer to the start of the NFL season. And one thing that I hate, but it has to happen sometimes, is you handle your business in public. contract negotiations, accusations. And so Trey Hendrickson is publicly calling out the Bengals for lack of communication on a contract extension. Now, he's in the final year of his deal, led the NFL with 17.5 sacks last season, and I would think you'd want to secure this guy. So talks have stalled since the NFL draft. Hendrickson said past offers didn't match the team's previous promises. So he was also allowed to seek a trade earlier this offseason. No new talks have taken place, and he says he may hold out if no deal is reached by training camp. And then you've got first-round pick Shamar Stewart, also unsigned, with a disagreement over training camp roster bonus structure. That's stalling talks right now. He's there, but he's not participating until the deal is finalized. And of course, a lot of that's agents. Some of that's on the player, some of that's on agents going on. So right now, if you're a Bengals fan, I'm a little concerned. I'm sure you are. You're going to get these deals done. Are you going to put this team together? Because you've got a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback and you've got some once-in-a-lifetime weapons on offense. Now let's just get the rest of the pieces together and start being competitive. Other teams can do it. Do you think that the Kansas City Chiefs just stumbled into that? They've got Patrick Mahomes. They have a quarterback that can win them Super Bowls. The Bengals have a quarterback that could win them a Super Bowl. You just got to get the rest of the pieces together and get this thing going. And, of course, the Bengals still kind of are – there have been hints that the organization is maybe being drugged into the 21st century by some admission that it realizes, okay, we might need to change how we do things a little bit. And I will say this, I know from experience that there are some things that the Bengals have always kind of led the way on or tried to be, one of the leaders in the NFL. But there are a lot of things where, you're just looking at this and you're thinking to myself, do you even know what you're doing? Do you know how to run a football team? This is not how you go about this. And so now more roster woes continue. Hopefully they can get this thing together. Don't forget, we've got the games all season long right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we'll have everything coming up this fall. So we've got you covered. Don't worry. Don't have to worry about if it's streaming on Prime or Peacock or anything like that. Schedule will come out soon. We'll have a better idea of where those games are going to be. Doesn't matter. You know where they're going to be. They're going to be right here. We don't have to worry about that stuff. You turn your radio on, there's the Bengals, ready to go. We're out of time. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. But if you missed anything today, you can always go back. We'll have the podcast posted later this evening. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, you can find me on social media at X, at Paul Swann. Also, I have a link there on that profile. You can find me on any network that you're using. So we're still hanging out on Blue Sky right now, Threads. We're just waiting for the next big thing until we can figure out what that is. We're going to be on all of them. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.